Hello, welcome to Showboys. We have a special bonus episode for you guys. I mean, what is this? Two Showboys episodes back to
Yeah,
back,
back to
Thursday and
back.
Friday. Not even 12-hour, or I guess this is over 12 hours, not even 24 hours apart from each other. But yeah, we have this bonus episode. It's going to be really fun. We're going to be talking about a new game that is in pre-alpha right now called Project Frontier. An opportunity arose. We got an email from the guys over here from Project Frontier. It was super random. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be completely honest. I thought it was a little sketchy because we just get a random email and
Right.
it sounded like all of the scam emails or chats you get in Twitch or whatever. Like, oh hey, I like your stream. Have you ever thought about having some graphic art done for your channel or whatever? The email kind of started out like that. It's like, oh hey, we found your podcast and we really liked your episode on Valheim. We're making this game. You might be interested in it. Would you like to cover it? Join the Discord. Let us talk to you guys about it and maybe release something on the game. And after some investigating, we're like, okay, this doesn't really seem like a scam. Let's see what's going on. And we did. We sent Chad. Chad's like my firewall. I'm not sure if this is a scam. Chad, would you like to go? But he went. He listened. Spoke with the people behind Project Frontier. So he's gonna tell us a little bit about what he learned. We got a press kit with some art assets and the announcement trailer and everything. So let's react to the trailer, hear what Chad learned in his time with the devs over there, and then we'll just give you our thoughts on what this new game could be. So you guys ready to watch this trailer?
Let's do it.
All right. So here we go. Project Frontier.
Imagine a truly multiplayer survival game where every playthrough is a new adventure in an ever-evolving world with new maps, new modes, and new mods. Welcome to Project Frontier. Project Frontier combines the best of survival games like Valheim with fast-paced co-op fun of games like Helldivers. We're taking the...
Okay, can we just talk about just the opening here? Survival gameplay of Valheim with Helldivers.
Look at his face.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's into it, man. I love it.
He was great, man. Mike was awesome. They were both awesome. The devs were awesome. This was really cool to be invited to this. And I broke the firewall down and realized this wasn't a scam quickly into the thing. But yeah, that's how they were selling the game, which I think sounds awesome. Of course, we know not my kind of game, but it's definitely your guys' kind of game. But yeah, Helldivers meets Valheim, which is kind of a cool combo, I think.
Yeah, I mean, just off the bat, those two games are so vastly different. The way that they and they go on to explain a little more in this video here, but yeah, my mind after watching this and seeing this, I'm like, okay, those are two very awesome games in very fun and different genres. How are you going to marry these two and make it work? So,
joy of a survival game and distilling it into something you can play with friends in a single match. So when you and your friends hop into a game of Project Frontier, you're going to have an objective to complete for that session. You're going to need to harvest some resources, craft some basic gear, maybe build a base, just like in the survival games you're familiar with. But then it's all about going out in the world, exploring it, interacting with it, fighting the NPCs, completing quests, and interacting with other players.
In order to fit a survival adventure into a session, we can't have all the grind of a typical survival game. So we're going to have to cut that out somehow. And the first way to cut it out is that we're going to automate some of the harvesting. For example, at the onset, instead of cutting down thousands of trees, you're going to cut your first few trees down, and then you're going to build a lumber mill.
Okay, I got to be honest with you guys. When I got to this part, my heart hurt a little bit.
Oh, see,
You're all
That's-
about the harvesting.
You're all about the cutting the trees down. I actually really liked this, and they showed this off. I don't think it was in the trailer. I think it was in the gameplay they showed, like behind closed doors, if you will. They showed this off. I thought it was really cool. Now you can totally go and harvest stuff on your own if that's your jam. They're not taking that out of the game, but they're adding in an automator to allow you to do it automatically. And the way that it was like it was a built, like a blueprint they put out and built, and then it just like sucks all the resources from a specific range area. I thought it was cool, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like I don't like cutting trees down personally. I know Mike's the big tree cutting guy, so
It kind of reminds me of like StarCraft, like where you would send troops to go mine resources, and it would take it back to your base. So I mean, that part sounds kind of cool to me.
It makes sense with what they said before, because they said each match, like we're going into a timed session essentially, so it'd be like 30 45 minutes long. So if I load into a game, I could easily spend 40 minutes just chopping down trees. So
Yes,
the need to automate those harvesting of resources sounds crucial to the way that the gameplay is kind of set up. So that's awesome. But yeah, I thought it was funny because anytime a survival game comes out, like in Discord or on the podcast, literally that's my like, how am I going to rate this game? Is the tree chopping like top tier or not? Like that's usually my gauge. And then I heard this and I was like, I don't know how to review this. How am I going to review this?
At that point, your NPCs will come out and they'll start clear cutting the forest for you. Now, the other
real quick, Pal World does this. Once you get to a certain point, all your resources kind of become fully automated. And I think with Pal World, it kind of quits giving you a reason to play because your pals do everything for you. And essentially, you come to a point where you've caught all the pals and you've beat the few bosses that are in the game. So the only thing that would have been left for you to do is to gather resources to build stuff, and they take that away from you. But again, I think where this works is like that having those timed sessions like really is going to kind of negate that whole gameplay mechanic. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of disagree with you on that. I think that this is cool. I think once you get to a certain point in most of these games, like, do you want to collect resources anymore? You get to a certain point where you're like, I want to do the fun crap. I don't want to collect the resources.
Right. Well, no, what I'm saying is it's good for this, the way it sounds, because of the matches being timed. You can't waste the time gathering. You have to be able to push on and do the fun stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Sure.
I ran into a mechanic that was similar in Rise of the Ronin here recently, where it's a setting that you could put on where when you're walking through resources, you just automatically pick them up. And I turned it on immediately. So by the time I needed that stuff late in the game, I had plenty of it. Now that was awesome to me because I didn't really have to go look for anything.
Right.
So,
player teams have their own quests, their own objectives. And sometimes those objectives are going to be complementary. Sometimes they're going to be adversarial. For example, my team might have an objective to find a vampire's crypt. Mike's team might also have an objective to find a vampire's crypt. We might be doing it because we're trying to kill Dracula, whereas Mike's team is doing it because they want to resurrect Dracula.
Yeah, seems appropriate.
Yeah, that's par for the course for you. So while we might join forces at first in order to look for the crypt and to clear the way to it, eventually we're going to have to be at odds with each other.
So when you hop in, you're going to be on a procedurally generated map that rearranges handcrafted landmarks in an interesting way. You're going to have a new set of quests, new sets of enemies, different weapons, and of course you'll be playing with different players. But more importantly, you're never going to be limited to just the content we make. You'll be able to make your own quests, your own enemies, your own adventures, and inject them right into Project Frontier for both your friends and others to enjoy.
Dude, this part sounds crazy.
Yeah.
So this part of the game is actually what stood out to me the most. So the entire game is built in Unreal Engine 5, And Project Frontier is actually built using this system that you're going to be able to adapt things. And I think they called it Creator Lab. So it's kind of the basis of the entire game. So you can change anything. And they actually showed it off in the gameplay. It's pretty immediate, whatever you change. The example they gave in the gameplay was making your character, and they were playing a samurai and whatever the other classes are, Vikings or whatever. You can actually go in and change your characters to bears and wolves, and you can have bears and wolves. And it was literally just he typed bear, and then his character became a bear. It was super quick, super intuitive.
Oh, nice.
And then you can also change the sizes of it. He's like, so yeah, this team's the bears, this team's the wolves. Wolves are smaller, the bears are killing them, but we can go in and change it and make tiny little bears in giant wolves. So he went in and changed that. So I thought this was really cool. There are other games that do this, but this is like a core element of Project Frontier is built in this system.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, this reminds me of Gary's mod, where you can go in and just insert any asset you can find that's in there already. That gets pretty ridiculous. So I imagine this gets pretty rowdy with that.
Yeah. They said they guarantee whatever you make in there's going to work, but it's up to you if it's fun or not. And I thought that was a cool way of putting it. Like, you can do whatever you want, but it's up to you to make it fun.
Right. It's really cool. And so far, so we have Valheim, we have Helldivers. They said procedurally generated each instance, right? So we're almost looking at a roguelite type gameplay loop as well. And then you have this modding thing. So it's basically like you throw Roblox in there too, where you can make your own game mods and stuff, game modes and stuff. So
that's crazy.
Let's hear them go on about it, because this system, like Chad said, they talk about it in further detail in this trailer, and the stuff that they say is really, really cool.
We love playing games, we love making games, and we also love empowering others to create games. Whether you are a novice or an experienced game developer, you'll have fun creating in Project Frontier.
So we're brothers, and we founded OCP. Before this, we were both at Epic Games, where we worked on projects like Fortnite, Gears of War, and Unreal Engine. And we've brought together...
So not scammers, by the way.
Definitely not.
A team of veterans who have shot games for millions of players across many genres. Everything from Doom to Guild Wars, Little Big Planet, Call of Duty, Horizon, Shadow of Mordor, Tomb Raider. We're building Project Frontier inside of Creator Lab, which is our home-built game design sandbox powered by Unreal Engine 5. Creator Lab is a new way to remix, mod, make, and share games. And what we've tried to do with it is to turn creation into an extension of play. We want you to be playing with your friends, and in a single click, be creating with your friends.
You can do just about anything. You can make new weapons, new bosses, new NPCs. You can write your own quests. Let's say you want to make an extra special sword. You take a regular sword, you add the ability to be on fire and shoot fire. Now you've got a sword of fire. You take that sword and drop it into an NPC's inventory. That NPC now knows how to use a sword of fire. All of our quests and NPCs and playable characters, everything is built using Creator Lab. So that is all available to you. It's all one executable, and you just go from play to create. There's no other executable to launch. There are no devices to switch. You're all in session, playing with the same people that you are creating with.
That's what makes the iteration so fast. You're never leaving Project Frontier. Creator Lab and Project Frontier are tied at the hip in a way that's inseparable. That's really what makes the creation so easy. Like when you go to make that fire sword that Nick described, you don't have to go to Blender and model a fire sword. You grab one of our swords, you grab our fire ability, you grab a monster that we built, and you give him the fire sword and maybe change him a little bit. We've basically defined the Lego blocks of building a game, built our own Lego castle for you, and given it to you. That's really the magic of what we've built, right? You can only get this if you've built it like this from the ground up. You build your own tools, and you build your own game with those tools, and you realize that the game has become the tools and vice versa.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
It excites me because they have their own quests and things of that nature, but I foresee the community that plays this game is going to be very creative, and being someone who is heavily entrenched in the Pokemon fan game community, I totally understand the creativity that that gamers have, just as people who enjoy games. They know the type of things that they would want to play, and that's what they make with the Pokemon fan games. So I can only imagine the things that they're going to be able to do with the tools that Project Frontier has given the player base. Like, that is so cool. There's going to be so many cool fan made things in this game.
Well, I'd go back to your point about Roblox too. Like, the amount of creativity just from the players. It's a community of gamers that dump their creativity into this and create brand new, like, different types of games, like all sorts of games. And I see this being very similar to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's cool. I don't play Roblox, so I don't know if maybe they all do this, but I think it's cool that they have the creator lab, right, which is really the DNA of the game. But then they've built a game within that, which is Project Frontier.
It's seamless.
And I don't know if that's done. Yeah, I don't know if that's done frequently. Maybe Roblox did that in the beginning. I don't know. But I think that's really cool. And it gives you, like you said, it gives you a castle to play in or whatever.
Yeah.
So
super, super, super cool. Limitless possibilities.
Now, when you're using big, complicated tools like Unreal Engine, UEFN, Unity, or Roblox, you can make your standalone game. You can do that with Project Frontier as well.
But you don't have to make a whole standalone game. If you just have a very specific piece of content you want to make, you can make just that and inject it directly into Project Frontier itself. For example, you played a quest that we made, and you think you have a better idea for a quest. Go ahead and make a new quest and inject it right into Project Frontier. Not only is it really easy to inject content into Project Frontier, you can also mix standalone things that other people have made together. For example, if Nick loves pirates and made a bunch of pirate gameplay, and I made a bunch of ninja gameplay, you can put it all together in one map with a few clicks and play pirates versus ninjas.
We don't want you to worry about doing a bunch of technical work. There's no API compatibility or data backwards compatibility issues. You just take the pirate content, the ninja content, drop them into a map, and they seamlessly work together.
Do you think it's hilarious to play as a bear with a rocket launcher? Make a bear, give him a rocket launcher, put him into Project Frontier, and go play. This means that as a creator, you're going to have a hand in building the main game, and as a player, you're going to benefit from a constant stream of fresh content. It'll be gameplay that we've put together, and it'll be gameplay quests that the community has made. And we expect that's actually going to be the more fun thing to play. Like no other game before it, Project Frontier invites every player to be an active participant in making Project Frontier and the world of Project Frontier.
We want every player to have a hand in creating the world of Project Frontier. It is your world as much as it is ours.
In that spirit, we'd like to invite you to join us now in shaping Project Frontier. You can join the Project Frontier community on Discord at ocp.gg/Discord. We run a very open development process. We love sharing our work and getting your feedback. We'd also like to invite you to sign up for our upcoming playtests. You can find the link below. Share your feedback with us and see it reflected in the game.
We know you're going to make awesome stuff, and we can't wait to see what you've come up with.
Well, there you go. Yeah, we'll have the link to their Discord in our episode description, so you could just give a little click, join right up. But Chad, is there anything that you learned in your time with those guys in Discord that was not part of this trailer that you would like to share that we could talk about?
Yeah, man, there's a couple things. So they showed off, I think they were actually trying to set it up so that the people in the stream that they invited would come and play, but none of us were really set up to do that. So they actually got on as a development team and played through a session. And that's where we saw the automated thing. We didn't see that in the trailer. Like I said, it's just a blueprint. You actually have a cart too, where you craft everything at, and it's like an Oregon Trail style cart. Okay. And you can move that through the world with you. So it's like a base that you can move through the world with you. But if that cart gets destroyed, you no longer have the ability to spawn. So your session kind of ends. So you have to kind of protect that as you go. And, yeah, I mean, it was cool to watch them play. They did a mission where they went and fought like this Viking boss, and they initially got just absolutely massacred by this thing. And, it was funny to watch them scramble. and then they spawned back and they brought their card up with them, so they had the ability to craft stuff within the fight. But it's dangerous because if they die, then the Viking's going to turn to the cart, destroy the cart, and then the session's over. So it was really cool to watch through that. And then they also showed a lot of the Creator Lab stuff. And in the Creator Lab, you kind of turn into like a ball of light. You can move freely around the world like most of these games. So they showed that off. They showed off the bears and the wolves thing. But the thing that stood out the most to me, and I don't know how you feel about this, Mike, because this is a session-based survival game where Valheim is not session-based, correct?
No, it is not.
So the problem with that is that there's no long-term builds that you can build. Right. So you can't build your moats and your castles and your whatever you build. But the way they alleviate that is they give you blueprints, and that helps alleviate some of the building problems. So you can make your own blueprints, you can find them. So that allows you to build stuff quickly in the game. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool to watch him play. It was cool to watch, like there's guns, there's swords, there's really anything you can think of already in the game. But I think the big draw to this is, they said there's going to be first and third party content on this game. So the people that are making stuff for the game and changing it. Because if you take Roblox, for example, there's radical differences between games and Roblox. Like some of them look like PS5 games. And then some of them are the stick figure Roblox games. You know what I mean? So I'd be curious to see what people make for this. I think it could be really cool. They did also show a part, and this is way beyond my knowledge for computers, but I believe there's a part where you can actually access the entire code of the game. So you can go in and change stuff in the code. And I don't know how all that works. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So, yeah, I want to know what your guys' thoughts on it are.
Dad, go ahead.
Man, this looks like a lot of fun. You've got elements from Roblox. The procedural generated thing is cool. The creativity, I keep coming back to that because like you're not limited to just the creators giving you giving you their baby, but you can also bring your own ideas into it. And I think so. Chad, you were talking about
easily too. Like that's the key. It's so easy. It seems so easy.
Like in Roblox, you have to go in a separate studio and then upload it. You have to publish it to Roblox. This is just all done within one package, which was amazing. Chad, the thing you were talking about with the scripting, like you can do that in Roblox too, is that you can script out everything that you want your game to be, and it'll translate into the game. So you're building your own standalone game, essentially. I think this has massive potential. I mean, it looks great. And even like before seeing this trailer, like just kind of browsing through Discord and seeing what they're posting and all the pictures and even going to the website. I'm definitely, I signed up for the play test. Like I want to play this thing. I want to try it out. It's got my attention for sure.
Yeah. So, Chad, to answer your question about the, excuse me, the building part and it being session based, I am curious how that is gonna play out. The big draw to a game like Valheim, I feel like for a lot of people is a similar draw to that of like Minecraft, where you just have like immense creativity and you can just create, a different kind of creativity. You can build to your heart's desire, like whatever you want within this world. And then it's just always there. And you can like go to another part of the world, build something else there. And then, a week later you can go back to your first place and, mess around and do all that stuff. So that will be interesting, especially because they use Valheim by name in comparison themselves. So that part's interesting. The blueprints sound really cool. So I don't know if they elaborated more on that, but is that something that like your character can create and find and then like have like across sessions. So like if I find a blueprint in session A, when I go into B, like I'll have it and be able to build it.
Yeah, I believe so. I think that's what they were hinting at by saying that it alleviates the inability to have a standalone build that you built in your previous play session. So that's how I understood it. Cool. And the idea of Lego blocks keep coming up, and I think he says it in the trailer too. Like, we given you the Lego blocks, so you do whatever you want. So who's to say that you won't be able to change it so this isn't a session-based game? It's a possibility, right?
Right. That's true.
I think that if that's your biggest draw, I wouldn't steer away from this, because you hear that it's session-based. I think that there's a lot of freedom in this game for what you can do. So I don't see a reason why you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, that's true.
It also kind of reminds me of Breath of the Wild a little bit. Like, you can go and collect resources. You have blueprints that once you have it made, you press the button essentially, and it just makes it for you.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of cool things that they've put in.
Yeah. I'm also excited to see. So they've had like sporadic playtests. I don't know how long they've had them, but they've had them ever since we were invited into their Discord. They just always fall. They had been at least falling on like Thursday nights, and that's when we record our episodes. So haven't been able to jump into one myself. But hopefully I can jump into one sometime. But like, they're in pre-alpha right now, so the playtests are very, very like sporadic. It's not like a ongoing thing. So I haven't actually gotten to get my hands on the game and play it, but I'm interested to see how the sessions work. Like, having a lot of fun with Helldivers 2. Like, you go into a place, you have a set of objectives. Like, when you're not in the session, you have like a main hub, your ship in Helldivers. So yeah, I wonder how that all is going to play out. But the thing that is maybe the most intriguing to me is the fact that I think the information they gave us is each session can have up to like 2 to 10 players or something. So there can be, like he said, 2 teams with similar objectives, but at some point they can kind of like go in opposite directions. And I'm sensing PvP.
Yes. Yeah. So this was actually really one of the coolest parts of it was the quest that they actually talked about, where one team might be going to kill Dracula, but the other team might be going to resurrect Dracula, and the quest can kind of splinter off at a certain point. I think that's just a cool concept, dude, for a multiplayer game, because they said like you can work together to get to that part. But then when you get there, that's separate really teams. Cool. Yeah, separate teams might have separate goals.
So then you're just like going through the whole session like on pins and needles, because you don't know if these people are going to like turn on you because they need the thing you're going after or something. Yeah,
it's a very cool concept. I like that.
Yeah, that's it's very interesting, and it's really cool hearing the background of all the people that are involved on this team. Like, they got some experience.
They really do. That's actually what took my firewall down almost immediately, because they were, prior to everything starting, we were just talking at the beginning. It was cool because Mike actually lived in Japan for a couple years and was like a lawyer or something there. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, what's Japan like? But yeah, just hearing what they've worked on in the past, I was like, okay, these guys seem pretty legit.
Yeah.
So, and just the fact that the way everything was presented was very, very professional too. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah. So
awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking at the document that they sent us. The OCP leadership team has people, one dude responsible for Fortnite Battle Royale product. He invented the Battle Pass, which I don't know if that should be like, a yellow or red flag or like a really cool thing. But that guy he also worked on World of Warcraft, Fear, Batman Arkham Origins.
Wow.
They have a dude who worked on Doom, Tom Clancy, Ghost Recon, Advanced Warfighter 2, Tony Hawk 4, Guild Wars 2, Shadow of Mordor, Icarus. Like, their team has some wicked experience.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's a promising sign, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So the game is going to be free to play by beta, and I'm going to say some stuff here that you guys probably understand, but I don't.
Okay.
So they're going into
translate.
they're going into early access by late next year is the plan.
Okay.
And there's going to be a gate price. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the
So
part.
sometimes, okay. So early access, huge thing on Steam with PC games. Essentially, what happens, the development team releases their game early in a beta-like phase. It's known to everyone who purchases, like, this is early access. It's not a complete game. You might have some bugs and stuff. Like, it's not complete, but it's playable and closer to complete than it is not complete. But developers, they'll release their game in early access in order to like get funding to help finish the game. A lot of like smaller studios and stuff will really take advantage of early access. For example, Valheim was in early access for 2 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Before its like official version released. And it costs $20. It still is you have to pay for Valheim unless you have Game Pass. But the gate price, what I'm assuming that is, if you want to like help support the game up front in early access, you can get that early access for paying. And then once the game officially releases, it'll be free to play, like you're saying. But that's just a thing to help fund the development to finish the game, things like that.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I was like, I don't know what a gate price is, but sure.
Sure.
So I actually wanted to ask, this was another one that kind of, I wanted to ask what if they were targeting a release date. Cause I'm a console guy. So I'm like, I want to know when your release date is. But then I was like, some of these games like are in early access for a while. Like they probably have no idea what time, but they are targeting at least the early access for late next year. So I guess that's a somewhat of a release date. And then they also said that we're going to get codes that we can send out to our audience. So they're not taking everybody from the play test. They want to be selective with who they're choosing for the play test. I don't know what the parameters were. They didn't say, but we're going to get codes that will allow our viewers to move up to the top of the line of the playtest.
Nice.
So
awesome.
Whenever that gets sent out, we'll send those in the Discord. So whoever's interested can snag that up. And then the other thing I wanted to know was what platforms they were going towards. And obviously it's PC first, right? But they are targeting consoles and they are targeting iOS as well, which I thought was cool. And it's also going to be iOS, which I thought was cool because some of these early access games, like I know Valheim's a bad example because I think that's on Xbox now, right? And it might even be on PlayStation now. Maybe it's only Xbox, but some of these cool PC games don't come to console, right? So it's cool that they're at least targeting the consoles.
Yeah, for sure. That is really cool. In iOS, that's interesting, but also cool. I could see playing it on like an iPad or something.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. It's exciting and it kind of stinks. So if you're wondering, Nick is, catching some waves at the beach on vacation. So he's not here with us. Otherwise, like, he would be the perfect person to be in here because this is right up his/our alley. So, man, I would love to know Nick's thoughts on the idea of Project Frontier. And I also wonder if they're going to have like an actual name, or if this is gonna be like Triangle Strategy where they just like stick with the like code name.
yeah, for sure. I was where did I? Oh yeah, Assassin's Creed Shadows was Assassin's Creed Red. I was like, I really hope that's not the name of the game, dude. Assassin's Creed Red, that's terrible. But they did change it, and it's arguably maybe worse if I'm being honest. But
yeah, nothing can beat Triangle Strategy though. I mean, I guess like it kind of makes sense, but
It
still,
does.
like,
I mean,
the worst name ever.
It looks
Terrible.
like it seems like this is the name because it's like very integrated in with the logo. Like it's just it just flows perfectly.
Yeah, so we normally when we see project in front of something, it normally gets dropped. So I don't know if the name of the game's Frontier. That might be the case, or maybe it is Project Frontier. I don't know. That's not
that
something
makes
they
sense.
discussed. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I thought for sure as I was watching the gameplay, I was like, oh, this is Mike and Nick's jam here, dude. Like this is like the first thing when they started the gameplay, they wanted to go over that automated thing, resource gatherer. And the first thing he went over and started chopping the tree down. And I was like, oh, dude, like
what did it sound like though?
It sounded good. I don't. You're
tree?
picky. Yeah, you're picky about your sounds of the tree.
I will die
noises.
on this hill. New World has the best sound design ever for gathering resources. The axe hitting the tree in New World. Oh my goodness!
But this
There's
is
not
like
a more satisfying sound than that.
Go ahead.
This is what I'm talking about, though. Like this is something that I think a lot of developers are starting to catch on to. The sound design in these games is very, very important. Like maybe the most important part in some of these games.
Yeah.
And you can take a game that has, like, if you took Call of Duty, for example, and you removed the great sound of the guns, like it's not going to be as good. People aren't going to like it as much. They like it because those guns are super punchy and it feels realistic. Some games don't nail the sound design, and I think their games suffer greatly for it. So even though it's fun and we make fun of you because you like the chopping of the tree noise, it is actually a really important part of the game.
Yeah, dude, I would, man, I'm telling you, like, it's almost worth the price of New World just to be able to hear the sounds of chopping the trees. And mining the ore is another, like, one of the most satisfying sounds I've heard. And the guns in New World. Okay, this is quickly turning into New World. We're talking about Project Frontier. Yeah. First off, thank you, OCP, and for inviting us to be a part of this. We're super excited to be able to cover this. The game looks really cool, really interesting, super unique idea. It scratches the survival, the Helldiver group play, session play itch for people like me. And I feel like for Dad, on the other hand, who's very creative and has dipped his toes into trying to throw together some games and stuff, like I feel like he is going to have a blast in the creative aspect and mode of this, just designing stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's just endless possibilities for community made content. The PvE/PvP gameplay in the session sounds really, really interesting, and I'm sure we'll make every session different and unique, outside of the procedurally generated maps that are being played. Yeah, it's crazy. Sounds interesting. I'm gonna have to try to get into one of these playtests.
Yeah, same.
All right. Well, definitely thank you for inviting us to this. And I'll be honest, I'm going to geek out here for a second. Like once I found out that there was like an embargo, I was like, oh my God, dude, there's like, what is going on here? This has an embargo. Like I was totally geeking out during this thing. So
yeah, we're lucky Chad retained any information to tell us after he heard that. So
yeah, we are. It's actually we're lucky that I remembered anything because I have like major COVID brain right now. Luckily, I wrote everything down because I was like, I'm not going to remember any of this.
And your note taking is next level, so we're good.
Yeah. Well, thanks for going and hearing the presentation for us, Chad. And yeah, listeners, hey, let us know if Project Frontier sounds interesting to you. Leave a comment, go join their Discord. The link will be in the episode description. And yeah, hey, maybe we'll see each other out in a playtest here soon. Until then, we'll see you next time. Have a good night.
Peace.